We're good to go.
I know. There's kids outside playing, so I was just playing too. And just feeling peaceful because I'm watching the leaves out there. And the sun's catching them and they're doing very slow dance. And in between them is love and rage the wrong way round. But it's not the wrong way around because the sun, at certain times of day it shines on it and then love and rage is projected inside the gallery, filtered from the sun through the leaves of the tree, on, I think that is a cherry tree, on the walls of the gallery where we are, so that works for me. I guess trees are one of my places of peace. Alongside water, any kind of water, but trees, I do like looking at trees. I love looking at trees. So. What's your favourite tree? You don't, whether there's a type of tree or there's a particular place you're not really into trees, you're more
I don't know. I guess maybe feel a bit embarrassed that I don't actually know the name of that many trees. I've got nothing against them.
Holly?
I think I'll take a willow tree.
Yeah.
But I think my place is near water. 100%.
Marty had a friend from Finland, gave her little strands of willow in the last year of life. You know, they were, we've talked about Marty before, and I've got a photo of it which I can show it to you some point, but there's little strands, and they lasted months. And where we are, you won't be able to see by pointing about 200 yards behind us, Hounsey Road, and there was like, I think it was before, it was like New Year or Christmas, New Year time, and they were still there, April, May time, they were still, still alive.
No, nice. Yeah, I think I like the way the little ones, like this kind of squat willow trees, and their arms touch the floor a bit, and you can kind of go inside. Yeah. And be kind of quite cocooned.
A den.
Like a little den, yeah.
And we were talking about Justin Kurland, photographer.
Yeah.
And a book of hers which is kind of feral lasses and dens on the edge of cities and stuff like that, and going a bit wild and that kind of stuff. Exactly that. That was one of the previous books. Do you have a favourite tree place? Is there a favourite tree that you like, Lens?
Do I? Well,
or place of peace?
It would be no doubt a very popular choice, but it's going to be cherry blossom. Obviously, as well as Japan and Baker.
Cherry blossom in Japan and
Baker.
And
I really like the silver orange too.
And silver birch. That's what on Hadrian's Wall they used to write on silver birch and send it home.
There's a blue tree in Baker. I don't know how the flowering is so blue, like indigo. Incredible.
Wow. You'll have to show it to us sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people might not find it.
Could you show us?
Yeah, because we're filming for a while, so.
I must
Sounds good.
say, I haven't put any kind of filter on this. It's a really striking tree. But it's going to take me a couple of minutes to go back quite a few years to when I lived in Baker.
Do you have a particular water body that's your favourite? Whether it's like, it's that particular, it's like that style of water, river, canal, lake, tarn, sea, ocean, or a particular place, it's that one? Or?
I think it is probably it's probably more than it's that one, it's not that one.
Fair enough.
But I'll take any kind of body of water, I reckon. We used to swim in a really disgusting basin, like in the Docklands in London, a couple of years ago when I was living there, and it was definitely not the nicest. But I mean, I loved it. It was dead nice. It was loads of fun. But we shouldn't have really been in there. Probably like a nice fresh water lake. What are they called in Scotland? A loch. There you go. A loch. But I'll take the sea. Probably wouldn't take a pool anymore though.
Yeah.
Too much of that in my childhood. And my hair would go green. And it does.
Just go to the seaside and be a mermaid for real, not imitate one.
Yeah. But I guess that's probably what I'd crave.
Yeah. And Lee, I mean, I love all water. It's just like natural water, but also canals too, and things like that. I do love that, and that's where I'd go. But also just watching trees are probably my favourite thing. And there is, books have leaves. Leaves in pages and that's one we made prints with. So I like that books do have leaves. And
You ready for it?
yeah.
I have not edited this picture.
God.
Wow. Is it okay if you show it to the
I
camera
will, yeah.
too? Is that okay?
Micah, would you
No,
just
no.
want, do you want to
Thanks,
direct and tricky?
There you go. Oh my God! Wow.
That is amazing.
Mhm.
Oh, that's so good.
I know, and it's on one of, you know how they've got the kind of primary coloured areas. It's in like the kind of blue part
That's
of the neighbourhood. So the
amazing.
beautiful blue roof housing, and then this bright indigo tree.
Wow. No, that's
Well,
amazing.
yeah, maybe I should have say that's my favourite tree.
I think that is a very good favourite tree.
I'll go for a walk soon and just have a look, because it's obviously it should be in bloom right now.
I'd love to
And,
go there one day and see it.
Take you, yeah.
If that's right,
Gorgeous,
it's
isn't
amazing.
it?
It is. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is.
I love
I
it.
love it.
It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll have to go on an
I'll go
exploration.
and have a little look. It can't be that far from Raby Way, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah. The houses, I don't recognise too. I reckon it must be somewhere near there. Yeah, that's right. And I have brought.
Do you want to see the purple tree? Do you want to see the purple tree?
This is some stuff that. So I made this first for Museum of Homelessness, and various bits of what we've been doing. I've mentioned Museum of Homelessness as a small radical campaigning organisation on lived experience of homelessness, and gave them relief and relief leaves. And I like that wordplay. I think leaves are special and trees are special. And the thing that was talking about, I'll tell you what. There we go. I've no idea what kind of leaf that is, but how about this one? Some of them fly. This one's a real papery one. This one might fly. Looks like what he wants to take off. Yeah.
Better.
Kind of. It does it, doesn't it? It's the papery ones. And I was saying that I think that much of what I've done has failed. And I don't think I've failed, and I don't think the art's failed, and I don't think anyone watching has failed. I think that the power, the infrastructure, the gatekeepers have failed. And we were talking, so life happens, you get wounded, you get hurt. Unfortunate but true, which there wasn't that, but there is. And you go to services, and you expect them to help you a bit. You expect them to not fix you perfectly, heal you perfectly, make you 100% better, but you expect that stuff to kind of work. And the point is that trauma isn't the thing that happened. Trauma is the laying down of that chemical trail, that neuron trail, that is the memory of it, that reinforcement. So you need the resonance about choke points, you need a disruption of that to tip it over so that it no longer hurts, it no longer wounds, you can move on. And services are supposed to do that, and they don't. And then you come to the arts sometimes, and maybe if you want to talk about it, because you do, and what I would say is your average artistic director, and there are too many average artistic directors out there, is a psychiatrist, possibly a social worker, probation officer, anyone? Deputy head, other assertive outreach, mental outreach. It's the same thing. So you go through life, something hurts, and you would like some help, and the people keep you out for whatever reason. And most of my stuff for decades has been about this, and I write about it and talk about it and blog about it and this kind of thing. And they don't fix it. They wear their lanyard and they make sure they've got some reason why you can't. And then you come to your average artistic director, who is your average social worker, aggressive outreach, probation, whatever, and they do the same thing. And that's the problem. And I was in one particular psychiatric hospital a long time ago, 20 years ago, and I just wanted to look at the leaves. Anyway, I broke out of the hospital using a teaspoon and picked a window, broke out. The psychiatric nurse outside, because they were from a different ward and they were on their fag break, they waited to raise the alarm until they finished their fag break. And I got about 70 miles away, and stuff happened. But, and all this is real, and all this is true. I mean, the things, and I also made a performance about it, a failed performance, because the art gatekeepers did the same as the mental gatekeepers, and wouldn't help, wouldn't support, wouldn't do any of that. Which is why I have this book that I was flicking leaves out of, because I just wanted to watch leaves, and then I put leaves in the book, and I made a show, I made a performance about all this stuff, and no one would help. And this book is by John Clare, who suffered from the psychiatric disorder was fiery torments. This was a couple of 100 years ago. He had fiery torments. He wasn't part of the canon, he wasn't proper, he misspelled, he used dialect words and all the rest of it. But some of the famous writers, they did patronise him. And then some professor from up here owned all his books and writing and whatever. This book was actually published illegally, criminally, because they said, fuck it, we're just going to publish it, we're just going to put it out, sue us. He's been dead, the writer's been dead for a while. Some posh professor owned everything, and you couldn't talk about him without his permission, and he wouldn't give permission. And John Clare escaped from a different psychiatric hospital, Epping Forest, and spent about 7 days, no, sorry, he spent about 5 or 6 days going home. It took him about, I think it was 5.5 days to travel 70 miles home back to Northamptonshire. Each night he would lie down in his head, facing the direction of travel, and the next day he would get up and go home, where he could still see his dead first wife. He grew up in rural poverty, that'll do your head in, 200 years ago, all these kinds of death and travel and so on. And he wrote about it, and he wrote beautifully and amazingly, and he got locked up, he got free, his words got locked up, people up here freed his words. It took a while, and I broke out of one particular hospital with a teaspoon. I won't tell you where I hid it. It spent a while unpicking the window, but we did, and a very famous gallery also was involved, etc. And it is insane, but it's not us, it's the system. It's the systems of power. Stuff happens in life. So-called services, the lanyard wearers mess it up. And then if you come to us, if you're unfortunate enough to come to us, not the making of it, not the doing of it, not the whatever, do that. Great, cool, fantastic. But if you come to it and the structure gets in the way and the gatekeepers, and it's got to be done like this, and I'm looking at some people who are laughing or trying not to laugh or something like that, I suspect it's not, and you're allowed to speak out loud, please do. You can disagree with me, you can tell me I'm just talking rubbish.
I think I've definitely found myself trapped in that structure that I've never wanted to participate in anyway, but then I just got sucked in, I forgot about the art itself, and I fell right into the trap. Like a fool, like a damn fool.
Fools are good.
Fools.
So could you say that out loud? I didn't hear it.
I was just saying you do get pulled into the structure every now and again without realising it, and have to have that conscious effort to pull yourself back out.
Yeah. Would it be fair to say, again, one of the things I say, so kids aren't born biphobic or homophobic or transphobic.
Mm-hmm.
They're educated into it.
Mm-hmm.
Kids just want to play or make art or something like this. Just the same thing, you have to educate them to be prejudiced. You have to educate them to do it correctly, right, and control them and make it neat and nice and on a plinth and on a pedestal, etc. I think it's the same thing.
I think you're probably right. Yeah.
You are allowed to disagree, that is my opinion.
No, I think you're probably right.
It's not the doing of it, it's not the making of it, but those are the rules, that's the structure, that's the way. So that it's tamed, it's controlled, right? It's
like how you then disseminate that is very controlled. So even in the making of it, like if you can't articulate it to an outside world, then you have like a private practice. And there's nothing wrong with having a private practice, but like part of believing in art is like believing in the change it can bring about, or at least that is for me.
Communication.
And yeah, you need to be able to like put it out so it can incite change, or does it change? But if it's kept, if no one can read the words, how can it do anything like that? That isn't good for the thing itself. Like.
Or if I tell you the words really mean this, eviscerate, eviscerate, eviscerate. Cannon, plinth.
Eviscerate. I'm so loud before eviscerate. I'll wait to describe it though.
So, I think canon is the wrong shape. I didn't, and Tom Leonard was the person that taught us who got us published. He was the first person who'd always written, and everything I do really comes from words first. He was the first person that I showed words to, and he was a lovely person, died at the same time as Marty. From age 13, the thing that he lived by, his word from age 13, and there's a reason, is I fucking hate male violence. And he also said his words pretty much were canon is only ever, and obviously in inverted commas now, canon is only ever to prove that our Sons of Empire are better than your Sons of Empire. So you can't have a bi-canon or a trans-canon, or, that is mini-canon or trans-canon. It's just, we might push, shall we push Lord Gormley off a plinth? Shall we put someone, you're in a wheelchair, you can't get up on Lord Gormley's plinth, I don't think it works, and apologies if I misquote Audre Lorde, but you can't dismantle the master's tools you can't dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. I think there's artists out there that I love, I think they're amazing, incredible, and bums on seats and numbers of people involved and incredible. They've possibly even won awards.
The award winners.
But great, cool. Do all kinds of things from it, have a great life, do all that, but canon, that shape, that structure, and we will make sure that you are credited in the film with the name you wish. Voice that's walking off.
Sorry.
Don't apologise.
I'll be back.
That's a different film. That's the Terminator. And I think canon's the wrong shape in arts. The whole resonance of choke points, tipping things over, doing it differently. I think we don't want average artistic directors / psychiatrists / probation / deputy head / housing / aggressive assertive outreach psychiatry, whatever they are. Let's do it differently, let's do it better. If you want to talk about stuff including those wounds, great, but only because you want to, in your terms, the way that you want to do it, not because someone wants to mine it. And this is stuff that we've been talking about, and when I say we, that is all the folk involved in the residency. There's people around, here, elsewhere, people helping, people supporting, people asking questions. The whole residency is about that. It's not us, gobscure. This is not just, I don't own it, it's folks talking about these things. Let's do it differently, let's do it better, let's whatever. What are the things that we tip over? Canon, get rid of those things off plinths. So this is relief for me, this leaf is relief, and it's part Tom Lennon.